Inuyasha. This was a big anime. I remember watching this on Adult Swim. It was pretty good. As far as how I got into it, we're sort of kind of jumping quickly into it here. I just saw it on Adult Swim, watched it. My favorite character would have to be Koga, and my favorite girl would have to be Sango. She's very hot, and Koga I think is pretty cool. It's a nice anime. I remember when I was watching, it seemed like it was so long. I felt like this anime has so much filler. Like I know a big thing is like Bleach has like a lot of filler, Naruto has a lot of filler. One Piece I don't know, but at the time I feel like Inuyasha had a lot of filler. Or maybe it didn't. I don't know. I haven't seen every episode. TransAngel got me the first season for Christmas, and we do plan on watching the entire series in the future, maybe, perhaps. And if we never get around to it, I'll eventually watch it. Maybe when I'm retired and I have nothing else to do. Anywho, some of the episodes were pretty good. The music was nice. One thing I remember in particular is that they did like this weird transition of like art style. Like it went from like an old sort of Dragon Ball Z sort of style of artwork. It almost looked like the entire thing was just done with like a camera in the old tradition, like drawn with like coloring and not much computer generated stuff. But then like near the end of the series, they started doing like computer generated imagery, and that was kind of interesting. This anime kind of lasted a long time, and it was pretty fun to watch. I thought the English voices were pretty good. I've heard the Japanese versions. I am aware of Kape Yamaguchi, Mr. Inuyasha, or I really mainly know him through Taichi. I first heard him as Inuyasha, but I didn't actually take notice until Taichi, or Teatree, however you say it. I don't know. The game says Teatree, I say Taichi. Let's see, what else? I did play the games. I did like the PS2 game where you can, just be a guy or a girl, and the girl was very, very, very attractive. I would have definitely liked to, play with her a little bit. Perverted. I'm like Moroku. That's really all I can think about saying as far as the show itself. One last thing I'll probably mention about this one, because I am going to talk about the other one. One thing that sort of got on my nerves was that its ending. I did see its ending, and I was already, aware that the manga sort of continued onward where the anime left off. It's like, okay, whatever. I know now that the manga's over, so. And I remember, like, I saw the ending, like, they fought Naraku, and there's like, wait a minute, he's still alive. It's like, it's okay, we'll defeat him one day. End credits. No, that's Symphonia. They started playing that My Will song. I'm thinking, are you serious? That's the ending? Wow, that's dumb. Poo poo and my panties, dumb. I'm thinking, wow, okay. Like, I did not like that ending. It's almost as like, they just got tired of making. That's probably what they did. They were probably thinking, okay, this anime is going to go on for a really long time. Why don't we take a break and wait until the story actually concludes, and then we'll continue onward? I think that's actually what they did. Initially I thought that they just decided to stop doing it, or it didn't sell very well. And it's like, oh, okay. But then, now that I think about it, especially with what they did with the final act, which I'll talk about in a minute, they probably had to have done like a little hiatus. And now let's talk about Inuyasha, the final act. I actually haven't seen that much of it, but from what I saw, they use Do As Infinity for the opening theme song. I don't really have any expectations for the opening theme songs, considering Adult Swim cut them out. So I don't really have any standard for what the theme songs are. But still, this song felt like it didn't really belong in it felt like it was sort of like a different sort of thing. But happens. I didn't watch a lot of it because I didn't want to. I kind of wanted to watch the entire Inuyasha series before I actually move on to watching, the final act. But, well, from what I saw, it literally was a second season. You know, they used like the same music, literally the exact same music. Most, if not all, of the original voice actors. Like I said, I haven't actually watched much of it. I sort of skimmed through it. Pretty good, you know? I enjoyed it, you know? From what I saw, I was like, great, this is actually going to be, you know, what it should be, a continuation of the first one. That's great, actually. I'm really glad they did that. But, you know. And, of course, they'll probably do a game here or there. I'm waiting for Viz to do it. I heard that Shishomaru wasn't going to be the same guy. I mean, for one thing, he's not even in Canada anymore. He's actually, like, a sports announcer now. But I think they got all the other voice actors. Monica Story, I think her name is. Richard Ian Cox. Scott McNeil, if he's not already doing Full Metal Alchemist. Going from the English version going from the Japanese version to the English version, he might have not been the best choice for Koga. I felt like he kind of puts too much of a gruffness in it, I feel. I don't know. When he first did it, when he sounded like, you know, just a regular teenager, that was perfect, I felt like. I felt like that was, you know, just perfect. But what he started doing, you know, afterwards, I felt like, you know, it was like he was doing Piccolo all over again. And of course, you know, I felt like that wasn't very, you know, I didn't watch it. It was nice to hear him do his Piccolo voice again, but, you know, whatever. So, overall, I like it. I'd recommend it, both in English and Japanese. It really depends on your preference. Lastly, before I close this out, one of the things that I do like is the theme songs. I have heard some of them. I know the first one, Change Your World by V6. That was like one of my top 10 anime openings. And then, you know, I remember the other songs. One thing that I found interesting about what they did with it, was like, you know, the first theme song, you know, Change the World by V6, I think the band's called. It had a good sound, like a good song. But then when they got near the end, the last one they did was called Brand New World by V6. It was almost like, for the first one, it was like, okay, we're going to change the world. Then for the final ending theme song, it's like, this is our new world. I kind of like that. It kind of was, that made it seem like it was closure. I do like that. But in my opinion, they probably should have left that for Inuyasha, the final act. Or I don't know. That would have been cool, because, you know, what if the band's not doing that well, but then people are like, ooh, it's V6, they're really good. You know, watching, you know, Inuyasha, the final act. I haven't heard, you know, any of the new I don't even know if they have any new theme songs. Ironically, you know, Inuyasha, the final act is like 26 episodes, which is much shorter than Inuyasha being like 100 and something. It's a longer one, but, you know, it's still pretty good. I'd recommend it, though. I feel like it sort of goes on for a little bit, so, yeah, that's all I have to say about Inuyasha. Watch it, and I will see you guys later.